Hi, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing the trade review for September 13th, 2013. Let's kind of jump into it. Remember, this is for educational purposes. I'm not advocating a particular way of trading or saying my way of trading is the best. This is simply to kind of give some insight into how one successful trader, that would be me, looks at the market and how I set up my winning trades. So in my pre-market review of what I anticipated for the day, if that's even a proper way to say that, the market had balanced overnight. The thing that I found most interesting was overnight we had set a slightly lower low, lower than the prior session's low, and that's the first time that we've done that in this entire series of up moves, outside of the one day where we had the President Putin make a statement prior to President Obama making a statement, which I'll consider a fluke. Other than that, we haven't been able to even test below prior day's lows in any way, shape, or fashion. So that kind of gave me a clue that possibly, maybe we were going to have some weakness. In addition, in the overnight session, we were unable to approach the prior session's highs. And that just kind of left me thinking, we probably have some weakness going. And then also, if you consider the size of the move up, we were due for some consolidation. If we had broken the prior highs and gotten above 90, we were looking at possible range extension and move out of balance. And then we had three choices from there. Had we broken higher, the choices were range extension, which is where we simply make a move up and then trade sideways 5 to 10 points, and then trade sideways the rest of the day. Trend day up is the other option, where we have a strong opening and we continue to trend all day and close at the high of the day. Our third option was balance, and of course the inverse of that, had we broken below 1680, 75, 77 was up at bat, and then below there 70. But my thought was, either way that we moved for Friday, that we'd be moving back into the zone by the close. And so we did test, and we did push further down in the session. We opened up, and the first clue to that was NQ was very weak. NQ NASDAQ has been leading the move up almost every single day, and there was just no strength in the morning. In addition, on that first push up, we really stalled out before we could even get to Globex highs, and I kind of treated this zone, this 1684 to 1686, when we kind of failed there. I just anticipated that was a great location to get a test. My hope was we were going to break through gap fill, which would have been right here. Instead, what happened was we came right down to gap fill, and I was about a tick shy, maybe 2 ticks shy of getting my fill for 2 points. And so my philosophy on that is, I decide when I'm going to enter a trade. The market decides how I'm going to get paid or how much I'm going to get paid. So I simply came so close, and I had a choice at that point. I could have either taken the money off the table. I could have just sat there with the original stop and let the trade play out, either stop or pay me, or my third option was to move the stop to break even. My thought was, I've almost been paid. I don't want to turn a winner into a loser. I moved the stop to break even. I chose not to scale any of the trade, and I was stopped. These are all options that I have, and those are really about the only choices I try to make while I'm trading. I want to make as few decisions as possible. So NASDAQ was leading us on the way down. We got stopped the first time into the 8:55 and 9 a.m. news. We finally made a push up into the 1688, 1690 resistance zone, and it just kind of stalled when it got in there. There was just no push, and I had felt that if we were going to blow through there, it would have blown through there immediately. Instead, we kind of danced there for a minute or two, and the short looked right. It was right above the bottom of the zone where I took the short. And then my goal was to get it back down. Actually, I really thought we had a pretty good shot at breaking the lows and testing that 1675, 1677 area. That didn't happen. We stalled out at 1682 and a half, I believe. So, 1682 to 1681 and 3/4. So at that point, we had tick divergence. I had scaled the trade. I believe I scaled it at 2, 3, and 5 points, and possibly 6. I just don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was a really good trade. Got paid really nicely on that trade. Now, I made a few mental errors. Here I should have flipped and gone long. That's one of my high odds setup. I didn't take it really because I was still looking for us to get down to 1677, and I'd also been distracted. I'd been on the phone at the time with a client, and I just missed the tick divergence. So from there, we were able to push all the way back up. NASDAQ was also able to push all the way back up. If we take a look here, let's see where we have NASDAQ. Same situation, but you'll notice we weren't even able to get, as we were in the industrials, the Dow Jones Industrials, we were not able to even get up into Thursday's highs. We rolled over. Basically, we couldn't get past Globex highs. And right now I have my eye on NQ because it's been the leader all the way through this, and I don't think ES will move until NQ will move. Interestingly, NQ was stronger all day than ES, and ES was able to penetrate through the overnight lows and come down into its prior support area, where it gave one hell of a nice trade back to the upside. This is 31.65 all the way up to 31.80. That's 15 NQ points. That is getting paid. That's a really, really nice day. So at any rate, that was pretty much the day. Once we got back in, I did take a really poorly thought out trade right here in the middle. And if you watch that trade, and if you watch the pre-market videos, I had mentioned that the middle of the overnight zone was probably the worst place you could take a trade, and that's exactly where I took the trade, and I live to regret it. I took a point and a quarter. I should have probably covered it earlier than that. That was two mental errors back to back for me, and part of my trade plan and part of winning is realizing when I'm making poor decisions to stop trading. And so even though I could have captured another 2 points, I believe we had a bit of tick divergence here and a bit of tick divergence here, even though I could have captured those 2 points, it just wasn't worth making another mental error. There are days when I'm on and I'm just hitting every mark point for point, and yesterday wasn't one of those days. I'd already left a beautiful trade where I could have taken it completely the opposite direction, back to the highs off of tick divergence, which often marks a high or low for the day. Not every time, but often. And so since I already knew I was kind of mismanaging my decision-making process, and I had a very nice profitable day, a very nice profitable week underneath my belt, I decided to take the opportunity to kind of give myself a break and give myself a chance to walk out of here profitable for the day. Again, to kind of reiterate my philosophy, since it was a short trade review, we balanced the rest of the day. My philosophy is find the 1 or 2 trades you can hit with a high level of frequency. Come up with a plan for increasing trade size. I have my own plan. I coach people through that plan, both on a psychological level and an actual mechanical level of how you go about increasing that trade size. What most people try to do is they go, well, I can do 2 trades successfully. Let me try to do 4 trades successfully. But statistics show that people, the more decisions that we make, the worse we tend to get at making those decisions. And I know that that's certainly true of me. So I've taken an opposite tack. My decision-making process goes by, I'm putting all my energy and all my focus into a small period of time, and then I'm going to, as I consistently get more and more winners, increase my trade size, and I'm going to continue to pound those exact trades over and over and over again. I'm going to continue to work on my mental game so I become the best at executing my own plan, as if there was a competition of some sort. The competition is with myself to do a better job every day and make as much money as I possibly can. And if you're trading futures, I don't think anyone's in futures to make 10 or 20% annually. If you are, there's easier ways to do it, I can tell you right now. And then I go back through and I reinforce when I do something poorly. I go back and look at my spreadsheets, and I teach people, use your spreadsheets, keep your statistics as one individual journal, so you can go back and look when things start to go wrong, where it went wrong. The issue with that is you have to stay consistent in your entries and your exits and be committed to your stops. If you're constantly moving your stops around, if you're constantly moving your entry strategy around, and then things start to go south on you, there's no way to go back and look at how to adjust things because you're not doing anything in a repetitive fashion. Not only that, but your anxiety levels can go much higher than they have to be because you're dealing in an uncertain environment and you're constantly trying to guess within that certain environment. And it certainly doesn't have to be my methodology of trading. You can apply that to stochastics, MACD, whatever it is you're using, trend lines. But just stay consistent so that if you do start to have performance problems or you are having performance problems, they're relatively easy to correct. And then it also helps to get a second set of eyes on your trade plan. And then the last part that I recommend is an accountability partner. Someone who can take a look at what your trade plan was versus what you actually did and call you out when things aren't going proper or things aren't going right. But I firmly believe anyone can learn how to trade profitably and consistently, and I mean consistently on a day in, day out basis. I'm trying to demonstrate that through the blog, and shortly here this afternoon I'll have a spreadsheet up with the trades from this week and the trades from last week. And what the key was, and I was talking about this all day, the key that let me have a successful week this week was, even though I was struggling to capture the trend days that we had the prior week, I didn't beat myself up for missing that entire, what was a sizable move. I didn't go in and get angry at myself and saying I should have caught it. I simply took that and said, well, there's something more for me to learn. I'm going to protect my downside here, which I did. I ended up being up, I think, 1.5 points on my 2-point trades last week. And then this week I came out beautifully. You know, it wasn't a home run, but it was a really, really, really nice week. So I hope that helps everybody. I hope that gives you some insight into how I'm able to stay consistent and successful. And just keep in mind, anyone can do it, but you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to do the work after hours, to do the homework after hours, to train your mind, to be consistent and disciplined. So at any rate, I hope everyone's having a great weekend. I am looking forward to the Bama Texas A&M game, Roll Tide, and we will talk to y'all later. See you soon. See you Monday morning. Oh, by the way, one last note. This thing with Syria looks like it was resolved, and that both Russia and the United States came up with some type of compromise. I do think we'll have a sizable gap on Monday, and it'll be very interesting to see if the gap sticks or if we fail back down into the range. And I have no clue at this point, but I do expect that we'll have a sizable gap on Monday. If we don't, that'll kind of be revealing as well. I'll give some information. When you get a piece of information, you expect the market to have a certain reaction, and it doesn't react that way, there's communication that's going on there. And so you have to consider, what are the other people doing that are trading it? Why aren't they reacting in the way I thought they would? And then even if you're just trading from a technical standpoint and going, we should reject off this level, and they don't reject, you should automatically be thinking, well, what's going on that I either misread that, or what are the other participants in the market thinking, and so that I can learn from that situation. So right now I'm looking for a gap up on Monday morning. Possibly Sunday evening could be very lucrative. We'll just see if I can get any trade set up in that time. And I hope everyone has a great evening. We'll talk to you soon. This is Simon. Bye-bye.